morning so far. I've been home twice. I've been back home twice to get power cords and have shown up yet again with the wrong cord. For these apples, they change all the time, don't they? So I'm so thankful now they have to have new universal power cords. I'm very excited about that. Somebody had that thought in mind. So excuse me if you see me staring at my phone. I usually have the notes there and I can take a glance, but on the phone they're a tiny bit tinier. So I might be doing this every now and then. Anyway, as everyone knows, I usually like to start with a little bit of a laugh, and I've had a laugh at myself this morning, so now you can all laugh with me. So you've heard this one before, but it went so well with the talk today that I thought I'll resurrect it. So there was a young boy, and he was very curious to know where people come from. So he went to his dad and he said, "Dad, where did we come from? Where did people come from?" And the dad said, "Well, there's the evolutionary process that you probably learned about in school, where we were monkeys or apes, great apes, and through evolution, we became humans." And the little boy's like, "Oh, okay." So anyway, he goes and sees his mom in the kitchen, and he says, "Mom, where did we come from?" And the mom looked at him, she said, "Well, darling, as she learned in Sunday school, there was Adam and Eve, and God created them, and we all came from Adam and Eve." Little boy looked at him and he said, "Oh, that's really confusing." He said, "Because Dad told me that we came from apes." And the mom paused and she said, "Well, of course, darling, that's your father's side of the family." So we all know that those are the simplistic ideas of how we've evolved. And we know that we're all here playing in consciousness. So I'd like to start off with an affirmation, if you would follow me with it. And the affirmation is, "I allow the love and grace, of Spirit, to manifest through me, as me, and in me today and always." Yes, like you had a choice. Right? So today the talk is about personalizing the infinite. So what does that mean? That's a big, big title, and that is a huge topic, and I really could stand here for at least 3 hours and not get into all of it. And you know I can. I'll try and keep this short. So what does this even have to do with self-care? Personalizing the infinite. Anybody have any ideas? It is our use of consciousness. It is our individual use of the universal mind, the divine mind. It's the divine in us. What the heck does this have to do with self-care? Everything. Everything. Because it is every experience we've ever had is in this consciousness. We are an experience in that consciousness. Dressed up as Judy and Peter and Shona and Kandasi. We are that experience in consciousness for the universe. So everything we do, everything we experience, everything we put out there is an experience for the universe. We think it's an experience for us. We get to join in the fun. But it is really an experience for the universe. And that's why I say all the time to you, please don't hide your light. Because if you don't shine it, the universe does not get to experience it. Spirit does not get to have that experience, and you have no idea how that might influence another soul or the collective consciousness as a whole. And I've mentioned before also being the tipping point. So you might be that thought and consciousness that is the tipping point for so many ideas that we want to put out into that world. So much love, so much kindness. So I'm just going to go over the 3 points today, and this is weird because I've never looked so much at anything in my life, but not having the paper there, I'm all of a sudden transfixed by my phone. So the first thing that when we're talking about why it's important for personalization is when you're thinking about taking care of yourself, doing nice stuff for yourself, joy, what does that do for you? What does having a joyful experience do for you? Anything? Anybody get an idea?
Lifts my spirits.
Yes, lifts your spirit. What else does it do for you?
Good energy.
Good energy, yeah. What else does it do?
Our energy radiates outside of us.
Yes, so other people experience it, whether we know it or not.
It starts our day off fantastic.
It does, it's the best day ever. Absolutely, all of those things are correct, and every time we do self-care, we change our thoughts. So Tria did a beautiful tapping meditation this morning using the Ho'oponopono prayer, and it was lovely because it was self-care of the body. She started off with going through the body parts and apologizing for any judgment we held. And then seeing it in perfection, seeing it, loving it. But the apology came first because we judge this body, right? Instead of enjoying it, instead of treating it to self-care, instead of pampering it, instead of out there showing it off to people, right? I don't know when we stop loving our bodies. I mean, remember being little and just running around in the yard naked and going through the sprinkler or whatever. It was wonderful and it was free, right? And what joy you have when you remember that. That is what the universe wants us to experience. That self-care puts that out for others to feel. And it also gives you something to draw upon when you're trying to manifest new and wonderful things in your life right now. So the key point to this, the first thing you have to do when personalizing the infinite is realizing that you're part of it. And I love Deepak Chopra's quote where he says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop." You are all of it. You're not a little bit of the divine, you are all the divine, dressed up as Tria, dressed up as Shona, dressed up as Terry. You're all divine beings. You have all the power of the divine, not a fraction of it, not this little corner that it's set aside, for Randy. We have the whole thing, right? A whole enchilada, as they would put it. So why don't we embrace that? Why don't we act like that? Why don't we walk through the world like that?
Because we forget.
We forget. We forget, or we don't even understand the things that we hold in our subconscious, which we're not aware of, that block it. So when we talk about doing spiritual mind treatment here, and we're working through that first step of oneness, what is the point of that? It's to realize our power, right? To realize how powerful we are. When's the last time you told your kids or your sister or family member, whatever, about how powerful they are? That if they wanted to, they could create everything they wanted. They could manifest anything they wanted. And of course, you'd get over it. Yeah, it's working out so good for me lately, But look around you. Everything in your experience, including your clothing, your friends, your love life, your homes, your business, it's all created by you. Somewhere there was a thought that brought in the wave and created your potentiality in that moment. So how do you like it? How do you like what you're creating? Are there some things you'd like to change? I always say when I'm in the middle of a painting, I get to the point where the person, because I do portraits mainly, where the person says hello to me, or I don't have a clue who you think you're painting. And I go through both of those emotions, and I can go through those emotions in 20 seconds. So sometimes it's just the smallest little detail that I add to that painting where the person comes through. That's the same thing in your creations. If you're working with the divine, if you're truly believing it, then the faith, that total faith in your power, is your last little dot in your painting. It's the last thing that's going to make whatever you're looking for all of a sudden come flying in, take form. Up until then, it's pure potential. So it's kind of interesting because I was doing some research on the Copenhagen Principle. And this was back in the 20s, and Einstein was one of them. Please forgive me, I can't remember the other two scientists. But they did it on quantum physics, the aspect that things do not exist until we observe them. And they proved this, that everything is pure potential until a person or something observes it. So you're the observer of your manifestation. It does not come into being until you look at it, till you choose it, till you focus on it. And that's for anything. That's for anything that you want to experience. And the minute you do, the minute you realize it, everything flows. And you get to experience it. And I know we've all done this. Whether it's as simple as a parking spot, or as amazing as a house or a partner, whatever it is, I know that each person in this room has experienced it and has done it. And we get all excited. And we're like, yes, this so works. And then we hit a plateau, and for some reason we feel that we're not doing it again. That's because our focus went off of spirit. So the only thing that creates, it's not me up here doing, it's not me running home 3 times for a chord, it's not me thinking I've got the power all figured out. It's me realizing that I have to stop. Everything's going to flow through me. I just have to get out of the way. I have to stop pushing that boulder up the hill and go with the boulder down the hill and know that it's going to be okay. Focus on spirit. So am I going in dark? Which is always fun. Sorry, have to look at it now. All right. Okay. So the next thing is, that isn't it. Our thoughts control. Okay. Got it. So your thoughts are your joystick. Anybody remember the old games the computer games where you had a little joystick? Or maybe you see now on Top Gun, when they're flying the airplanes, they're using these little joysticks now. So I love to think of my thoughts as my joystick for manifesting. So I know what's going to happen by my thoughts. And if my thoughts, like this morning for a while, were a little harried, or a little crazy, I was creating more crazy. That created me running home and grabbing the wrong cord and coming back here, realizing I forgot my phone, grabbing my phone, coming back here. And then I had to stop and think, where are my thoughts? Because right now, I'm getting ready to do this talk, and my thoughts are, oh my gosh, I really messed things up today. What kind of talk was I going to give with that thought pattern? Not a very successful one. So I had to sit and I had to put on the music that makes me happy, and I had to get my thoughts in and my feelings in place. So I got happy, I listened to Steph's beautiful songs, and away I went. You too can do that. If you want to know why something isn't showing up, check how you're feeling. Check what the last thought you had. Check what your thoughts are about it anyway. And if your thoughts are, I can't do that, you're right. Get out of the way and get your thoughts on, I am one with spirit. I am one with the divine. I am the power of this universe. Everything that I am experiencing, including myself, is an experience in consciousness. That power doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't slip in and out by how spiritual you are. There's nothing you can do to make it more so than what it is. You're swimming in it. You always have been. You breathe it in with every breath. You see it with every look or feel it. It's always there. The problem is it's always there. It's like our blood. I mean, at least sometimes we can see that, but it's always with us. So we have a tendency to not notice that awareness. And I always love the one that Deepak does where he says, you want to experience this awareness, then pay attention to what is listening with you. So you're listening to my voice, but there's also an awareness. There's also something else watching you listen. And that's the presence. It is that voice that's with us. It is that stillness that's with us from when we were a child running around through the sprinkler, through the young adult, through the young adult, all the way up to now. And will be till the end. It's that quiet awareness that is always there, that is always witnessing, always experiencing through you, which is everything. It is everything. But you have to know that it is the only thing that manifests. And you have to let it flow through you to see what you want to inform. So if you're not seeing it, it's because you're not allowing it yet. And the best thing about self-care is allow it. Enjoy it. Revel in it. Know that your experience, your joy, your pleasure is the pleasure of spirit, the pleasure of the universe. It's the exact same thing. So always look at it like I'm adding more pleasure to the collective consciousness. You know, I get a massage. I don't think, oh, this is so selfish. This is so decadent. I shouldn't have had that really big ice cream cone last night at Slab, but I did, and I loved it. And I enjoyed it, and I decided not to feel guilty about it, and I put it back to spirit and said, thank you, aren't we amazing? We digested this without an issue. I allowed. So allow. So the last thing is about doubt. And I kind of touched on it a little bit before. But doubt is the one thing that will stop anything from manifesting. And sometimes we're not even aware that we're doubting. But we are. There are things we were taught as children. There are things that we picked up. There were experiences we had. There are feelings and emotions that we developed from those experiences that we kept inside. And we're not aware of them until we lose our stuff in the car behind a slow car. You know, road rage. That's a real good indication there's something stuck down there. We go to get something that we were really looking forward to, and then we walk away without it because we start having doubt that we could afford it, or that we deserved it. We think of something we'd like to do for someone, maybe buy a special gift or send them a little bit of money, and then we stop for some reason on our way to do it because we start to doubt whether or not we should, if it's our place to do it, or if we can afford it. All of those doubts, thoughts, are like a stop sign to spirit. It's like, okay, you're not ready for this now. You're not allowing this to come out and through you. So it waits. And we run around going, I don't know what the problem is. I do 50 affirmations a day. You know, I am saying, I am incredible, I'm wealthy, I'm abundant, and nothing is happening. While inside, we're thinking, ooh, you know, I really want to think I want to trust spirit, but I really should hold on to this last 50 or this last 100. You know, I just think that's smart. This is being smart because we live in reality, right? This is reality. I gotta watch this. What reality is spirit living in? Not that one. The minute you understand that all is presented to you as you take it, then this all changes. It just is allowed to flow through, but you have to believe. No more than you should give something just to prove the reciprocity of spirit, or that spirit gives back. That never works because the consciousness isn't there. You're giving to get. And if the consciousness of the joy and the emotions and the thoughts of freely giving, then it's not going to come back the way you want it to. But if you joyfully say, you know what, I know there's more where this comes from. I completely believe in how this is flowing, and I joyfully give, then wait, because the floodgates are going to open. So our only work is to go inside. Our only work is to find that connection with the ocean that is you, and to experience it, and to get those good thoughts in the morning of joy and memories of joyful times, and fill your body with them. Do as Turia did. Go through the body and thank it. Thank it for the amazing things it does for you. Bless. When was the last time you blessed your family, or a friend, or your house, or the sun, or the trees? Bless everything. And know that you're connected, and every time you bless them, you're blessing yourself. So, where do we come from? We come from a consciousness that is so amazing, that is experiencing so many different things right here, right now, and is just waiting. It's just waiting for you to realize that that is you. And so it is.
So it is.